evidence is spinning on Google's hard drives, and as you might imagine, Google's not about to give us their hard drive. The long and short of this call for academic research is that there's a tremendous backlog of forensic analysis for criminal cases in particular. And I think that as the community evolves, that we need to make a clear distinction between what is digital evidence and what's relevant there and what's relevant in traditional wet lab, like DNA sequencing, like latent prints, etc. Sometimes we get a little wrapped around the axle. That's it.
Okay, Barry.
My name is Barry Grundy. I'm a assistant special agent in charge of a computer investigative support team at the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. Basically, we oversee the IRS. Is what my job is. What I want to talk about, I'll cut straight to it. I want to talk a little bit about preservation and collection of evidence, along the lines of what John talked about. I'll start off with an anecdote. This is 2 weeks ago. I'm working a live case. This is a live case, so I'm not going to go into locations and stuff, but 2 weeks ago I was in a foreign country getting ready to serve search warrants. And we were getting our briefing with the police down there that were helping us. There was an ICE agent, a couple of ICE agents, a vetted unit from this national police that were vetted by ICE, polygraphed, so on and so forth. So they're very trustworthy. The ICE guys said they were very trustworthy. In addition to them, we had local police that were going to do security for us. During the briefing, they were not give out the locations, the names of the people, and just before we left to go do the warrants, one of the vetted guys went around with a bag and collected cell phones from all the cops. That's the kind of environment we sometimes have to operate in. What's that? Oh, okay, they collected the cell phones because they did, as soon as you get in the cars, they'd be out there texting the bad guys, hey, we're coming to this location, that location, or whatever. So they had to collect the cell phones from the police so that we could go ahead and do these search warrants. This is only 2 weeks ago. The point I'm getting at here is the environment that we sometimes have to operate in. People say, it shouldn't be that hard to catch these people. That's the kind of environment we're operating in. What I wanted to talk about was the collection and preservation of evidence, particularly with regard to smaller agencies that have to operate in a global environment now. Computer crimes is not, there's no borders, we all know that. We don't deal with borders anymore. In the United States, we have our laws. We have Title 18, 2703, we send out F letters to preserve evidence. If I see evidence of a crime, I can fax a preservation letter, phone call, whatever, and say, hey, preserve that. I'll follow it up with a subpoena, a search warrant, or so forth. In foreign countries, we deal with largely either assisting agencies, the FBI, Secret Service, ICE, OSI, whoever has people in country. And we also do CSIPs, the Computer Crimes and Intellectual Property section of the DOJ. They have something called the G8 24/7 network that we can call on. They have contacts in other countries. They can preserve evidence. We also use Interpol and sometimes personal contacts. Pick up the phone and call cops that you know overseas. That has always got to be followed. Go ahead and switch slide. That always has to be followed by legal process overseas. And that's where we run into MLATs and MLAs. MLATs and MLAs, mutual legal assistance treaties or agreements whereby we can request information from overseas. The unfortunate part of that is it takes a long time. This is a process that goes up, across, and then down in political circles. Political and government. And so it can take a while, especially if you're in, again, a smaller agency that doesn't have a high profile. We've come to the point where computer fraud is a global problem, and we need to rely on people outside of law enforcement to help us out. We hear a lot about this, particularly with vulnerability mitigation, things of that nature. We need to share. We need to move quickly to share information on vulnerabilities so that they can be corrected. And it's a global thing. If there are vulnerabilities in computers in the UK, it's going to affect us over here. It's ongoing. It's a global economy now. The same thing goes with evidence. We have to move fast to preserve evidence, because even if you get that stuff at the first hop very quickly, it could lead you to another hop that you have to get to quickly, and so on and so on. So what I would say, that the reason I bring all this up, is we have people here at Blackhat from all over the world doing this stuff. Be mindful of preservation. If you come across something, if you've been attacked, credit card fraud, whatever, your servers, preserve the stuff. Even if you report it to law enforcement and they don't seem interested because your damages aren't that high, there's nothing to say that 6 months later, a larger case somewhere else breaks open and it's related to your data. That then becomes important. You become another victim and can help a larger case. It's not always possible and it's not always easy, but I just want to make people aware that we run across that all the time. So that's basically it. So, thank you.
Hop.
Morning. My name's Bob Hopper, and I run the computer crime section for the National White Collar Crime Center. How many of you have ever heard of us? Wow. I got two shills there in the back, two guys that work with me, so -2, that's pretty impressive. So, for those of you who don't know us, I want to spend just a few minutes telling you who we are and what we do so you have a better understanding of how we relate to these folks. We're not a federal agency, although we're funded through the Department of Justice and Bureau of Justice Assistance. We're a nonprofit, and our goal and mission is to train, educate state and local law enforcement mostly, but also federal law enforcement agencies. I would, if there's a federal law enforcement agency sitting at this table who hasn't taken advantage of our training, I'd be shocked. So we educate all the I agencies at the federal level, but our focus is state and local law enforcement. So what that involves for us is a lot of research and development that results in curriculum, and that curriculum is developed in concert with academia nationally. So Purdue University, Florida State University, University of Virginia, Tulsa University, on and on and on. We reach out to those experts within the discipline of computer forensics and digital evidence and ask them to help us in developing that curriculum. We also reach out to experts. Barry's a perfect example. Experts within the discipline who are truly experts. Barry's the top of the food chain when it comes to Linux forensics. He's one of those people that we reach out to make sure that what we're teaching is absolutely cutting edge and correct. The research and development that we do is software and hardware based, and it's focused on trying to ensure that the tools that law enforcement use are validated and they do what they say they are supposed to do. And the same thing holds true with hardware. NW3C provides other services to state and local law enforcement, investigative type services, so case criminal intelligence analysis kind of work. We partner with the FBI at the Internet Crime Complaint Center. How many of you have heard of that? Wow. Not many. So the Internet Crime Complaint Center is an online ability that people have to report internet crimes and frauds. So you can go online and report that your credit card has been compromised, that you didn't receive that rocking chair from eBay, whatever. Those cases are analyzed nationally and bundled up and sent out with some analysis to state and local law enforcement in the jurisdiction that can do something about it, both on the victim side and the suspect side. So I'll speak real quickly to one of the things that Barry said. As we collect those cases nationally, that fellow that lost 1995 on the Woody Woodpecker toy might not really need an investigation, but if there have been 15,000 Woody Woodpecker toys sold and nobody got them, then maybe there's a case there. So we cobble together those cases and we reach back historically and look at the common threads that would make us want to cobble those cases together. If that data isn't there when we look back then that case can't be moved forward. And it really is critical. I think Barry makes an excellent point. It really is critical that that data be available in order for us to do something about it. So often what we hear is, you know, you didn't investigate my case, and sometimes that's just simply true based on the manpower that state and local law enforcement has available to them, but many times it's because the data that would prove the case just isn't there anymore. So I thought Barry made a great point with that.
Let me just real quick, if you
Surely,
don't mind.
absolutely.
The anecdote, and this wasn't planned, but the anecdote that I just gave about the arrest and the search warrants, that case was actually built because we had one complainant. I went on to the IC3 website and found a dozen more.
Right.
So that's exactly what happened in the case that I mentioned. So go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. A good example. Thanks for bringing that up. Some of the challenges that state and local law enforcement have now are the same challenges to some extent that federal law enforcement has. I think certainly just the massive amount of data that computer forensic examiners have to parse through in order to find evidence is incredibly challenging. I was chatting with one of the fellows on the panel on the way down here about how to make that happen more quickly, and it's really kind of a simple thing. It's somebody out there build a drive that spins up quicker than 10,000 RPMs. Okay? It's the bottleneck of hard drives in the imaging process, some fairly simple things. So the challenge of the amount of data that these folks have to parse through daily can be very daunting, and it slows the process down. So one of the things that's happened over the last couple of years that law enforcement has done to try to combat that is put triage systems in place that allow them to grab that low-hanging fruit, that allows them to move an investigation forward maybe a little quicker. And we're helping with that. As a matter of fact, we developed a on-scene triage tool. It's a Linux-based triage tool that allows an officer to forensically examine evidence on scene and grab the evidence that they need to instantly react to what they need to do in the field. So that's part of what we do also. Jim didn't mention it, but I will. We are working with DC3 and Jim Christie to put together a hash set summit. So law enforcement commonly uses hash sets as a way to identify evidence and things that aren't evidence in order to be much more efficient in the way they do their work. Jim has a conference that'll be held in January in Atlanta.
24th through the 29th of January.
So we also work with private sector corporations like McAfee and Symantec and Mantech and on and on and on, who have particular expertise in areas such as this. And they will be sitting at the table, and we are going to talk about how we aggregate and codify some of those hash sets so that they can be more efficiently used by state and local law enforcement. My last point here is that I believe there are probably some hash sets out there that you use as programmers and engineers that you don't think of in the way that we might think of being used day to day. So if you put a hat on and